What is up, YouTube? My name is David Lee, and you're watching Asian with Cars. And we got Cameron of Team
Anime Sucks.
Team Anime Sucks, and we got the second place X-SABERS deck profile of Edison Format Ultimate Time Wizard Team YCS. And so, how long have you been running X-SABERS?
I've been playing X-SABERS for 2 years about.
2 years. Awesome. Let's go into the deck breakdown.
Okay. So we'll start off with the monsters. Play 2 Full Helm Knights.
Yep.
3 Emrys Blade. 3 Air Bellum.
Awesome.
The boss monster, Fall Troll.
Always the big beat stick.
And then the little brick, but he's really important.
Very important.
Then the best card in the deck, we got Rescue Cat.
Rescue Kitty, yep.
Standard card.
Yep.
The card that gets the best card in the deck.
And then the spice take.
A little bit of spice, but Descendant, 3 spies. Yep.
Awesome. And then now on to spells.
Yeah. So for right here.
Yeah.
For spells, 1 for 1. Rhoda, MST, Heavy Storm, Mind Control, Brain Control, 2 Gold Sark, and 2 Book of Moon.
Awesome. And then traps?
Yeah.
We can do it on top of spells for now.
Yeah. Right here, okay?
Yeah.
So for traps, Starlight Road, Torrential, Call of the Haunted, Mirror Force, Judgment, 2 Bottomless.
Yep.
Do 2 Saber Holes.
2 saber holes.
And 2 Gotham Sea Call.
Awesome. All right, extra deck.
Alright, for extra, 1 Chimera Tech. Going with some of the janky ones, but Dark End, mainly because of Brain Control, Mind Control, Android, Taster, Ryanak, Arcos. Sorry, it's a little out of order, but just the standards. I only play 1 Armory Arm, 1 Hyunlei, all you need. Herbellum.
Pretty typical.
One of the best cards.
Yes.
Stardust, and then the best one, 2 Gothams.
Nice. And then side deck.
Yeah. So for side, I didn't come too prepared with this. Just kind of threw some stuff together, but got Consecrateds, Kaikus, Cyber Dragons for the Chimera Tech.
Yep.
My Body, Smashing, Dust Tornado, Mask, and I side deck Trap Dust Shoot. Yeah.
Nice. All right, Cameron, so give us your reasonings behind how you're running X-SABERS and your choices on numbers of cards.
Okay, yeah. So for Full Helm, 2 I think is the way to go. It's one of the best cards in the deck, but at the same time, you don't want to see multiples in your hand.
Right.
So I think 2 is the perfect number. 3 Airbellum always, it's a brick, but at the same time, it does its job. We got.
Of course, your X-SABERS are pretty typical, but what about your spellcasters?
Yeah. So the thing with this deck is it plays around these monsters so well that the Gravekeepers are basically like playing Raikou, but it's just better for the deck.
Yes.
It's a level 4 spellcaster, so you play around these level 3 tuners so much that these make you Arcanite Magician as
Very
much as
often.
you can. And Arcanite is honestly one of the best synchros in this format. It's just really hard to have a deck be able to get to it.
Sure.
So, also, these cards, they play really well into decks like Blackwings, where they hit into this expecting an Emrys Blade, they hit into a Spy.
Giant defense.
Yeah, they're forced to either collude to deal with it or just let it go, and now they have to deal with the Descendant.
So, is there some inspiration to this similar to Synchro Cat?
Yeah, so it's very similar to Synchro Cat. It's just that you know, like you're playing the X-SABERS, because I think cards like Gotham's Emergency Call, Fall Troll are really powerful cards, and all the X-SABERS do their job really well of just floating, staying on board. I think they're really underrated in this format. Definitely a surprise pick for a lot of people, and one of the best things about this deck is people don't have experience against it.
Yes.
So you catch a lot of people off guard.
Kind of like the Yoshi of Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Like Yoshi. And like even the other day, so something with Full Helm Knight a lot of people don't know is Full Helm Knight hitting into Raikou. If Raikou chooses to destroy Full Helm can actually special summon himself back. Yeah.
Impressive.
So yesterday I ran into that. My opponent didn't know about that. I had to call a judge. And
the judge verified this.
Judge actually went against me, and I challenged it. Head judge went on my favor. So really optimal play is you see your opponent set a monster. If you expect a Raikou, just play the Full Helm, hit into it.
And it's a safeguard.
If they can do the mistake of popping it, you get to special summon it, hit directly for 13 because you get to hit again.
Because it's special summon.
Yeah, so it's actually better to just not pop.
Right. Now, one thing I have to ask you, I'm assuming we're done with monsters, right? Or you have something to talk about the Raigagura?
Raigagura, he's a brick, but he's needed. He gets you the hand loops. Even if you draw him, it's okay. He does his job. He wins you more games than he loses you. That's all I can say about him.
And you don't run over on 2, right?
No, never 2.
Awesome. On the spells, one thing I'm noticing on here, like classic X-SABERS, I used to be an X-SABER back in the top 10 Kasi days, but you're not running Cold Wave, you're not running True Nade, no Trap Stones. What's the reason behind that?
So, my idea on it, I'm also not running a level limit Area B.
Sure.
So, my thoughts on those cards. Sorry.
Yeah. All right, talking about the Cold Wave portion again. What's your aspect on saying so Cold Wave and Giant True Nade? Why are you not running that?
So, my thoughts on those cards is that they actually lose you more games than they would win you.
Sure.
Because cards like Heavy Storm, they take out the card. Cards like True Nade are combo cards.
Yes.
But I don't want to rely on having my True Nade plus a Rescue Cat and Fall Troll.
Yes.
It just doesn't seem optimal to me.
Right.
I think those you can play without going with those lines. And Cold Wave also kind of messes with you where you play it, yes, your opponent can't respond. You also can't Gauntlet Z-Call. Same with True Nade. You kind of, if you need to summon something, then Gauntlet Z-Call. It's a little awkward with True Nade. Trapstone I would consider playing, but at the same time I'm also playing heavy on traps. I rely on my back row. I think if I were to play any of those cards, it would be Trapstone.
Awesome. Yep. All right, so continue on for spells. What's your reasoning? Is there any reasoning on saying so? The Minecon, is that a staple in X-SABERS?
Yes. So in this deck, like I said, with Full Helm Knight, Airbellum, they are the cards that are always going to be in your hand. You're going to find them all the time. Playing around these tuners is the best thing you could do. So catching off people with even if you're not synchroing with the mind control, doing plays like mind control, summon Airbellum, hit directly, or say you get a Raikou,
yes,
or steal a Lila, things like that are really strong. Just removing a body for, say you Rescue Cat, summon 2 Airbellums, there's a big body.
Yes.
Mind control.
Yes.
Normally for a cat, when you have 2 Airbellums, you don't have a Fall Troll or any other body.
Right.
They just die at the end phase.
Right.
So now you have something to synchro off once you actually get the attacks through. In my opinion, it's such a powerful card in this deck, especially in this deck.
Right. All right, so talk about traps. So you have Saber Hole and Gauntlet's Emergency Call. What's your reason behind Saber Hole?
So Saber Hole is bottomless but better.
Bottomless but better.
The only downside to it is I play the Gravekeepers, so sometimes you'll choose to actually set the Spy.
Yes.
And in that case, you don't
you
have
clunk.
you
yes.
can't Saber Hole.
Right.
But Saber Hole is just that card where you set your board up, you set that, and it's Solemn Warning in this format.
Yes.
It's really powerful. Everyone has to read the card. They don't even know the card exists.
Right. They've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
It's not a typical thing in X-SABERS.
Yeah.
Right.
So playing against the most popular decks are going to be Black Wings and Vayu.
Yes.
Hitting Greffer, Armageddon Knight.
Stopping the normal summon.
Really powerful.
Yep.
Hit Dark Arms. Stopping their monsters for Black Whirlwind.
Sure.
Super powerful.
Yeah. Stop their turn.
Yeah. And Gauntlet Z-Call. 2, just because it's once you play this deck, you'll see it tends to be a brick sometimes.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's the card that people say is the most broken card when they read it.
Yes.
And it wins you games. Yeah.
So one thing I'm also noticing is there's no D prisons. Is that because you're substituting D prison for Saber Hole?
No, so I believe in this deck, getting attacks, you don't really need to protect your monsters too much, just because you rely on cards like Full Helm Knight, which already has an attack negate. You have cards like Spy, which you kind of prefer them to hit into, and you have Ember's Blade.
So you have enough defense.
Yeah, so you have a lot of defense. I don't worry about getting my board taken over by attacks. I'm more worried about removal, spell, trap removal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Awesome. Now talking about synchros.
yeah. So for the synchros, I would say Golems at 2 is super necessary.
Yes.
It comes up a lot more
Yes.
than you would think.
Yes. The
Arcanite-
Hyunlei is interesting.
Yeah, so Hyunlei at 1, I hardly make this, but when she is played, she's really good. She's just the safety card, but also she's an X-Saber name, so say you make a synchro with Ember's Blade Full Helm, now you pop back row, you can Gotham Sea Call with this.
Awesome. Any other things in extra deck? I'm assuming Arcanite Magician's a key card in your deck, right?
Yeah, so Arcanite, I would actually consider playing 2 of.
Yes.
I think Arcanite seeing 2 of is more likely than actually Armory Arm. I know a lot of X-Saber players do play 2 Armory Arm.
But you don't have enough options compared to like Regigura and...
Yeah, so you're going to loop like Ragiguras and Full Helms or Airbellums. But the thing is, I never have to go into the second one. But one is
Enough.
super
Yes.
necessary.
Right.
For the 8s, they don't really come up, really.
You don't form them enough, right?
Yeah. Something dark end. I'm playing Brain Control and Mind Control, so stealing like a Sirocco, synchroing with the 3s, it comes up. And then just the Chimera Tech, just because I side decked the Cyber Dragon.
Sure.
But that's all I could really say about the extra.
Okay. All right, let's talk about side deck. What's your reason behind some of your selections in the side deck right now?
Yeah, so I would say my side deck is not super refined,
Yes.
but it does its job.
Right.
So I played 2 Consecrated. The reasoning behind Consecrated that pops up so much is I plan on playing against Blackwings and Vayu the most.
Yes.
Even though this might not be the best card all the time because they play cards like Hamster Raikou,
Yes.
it's the best thing about it is you already main deck 1-for-1 for Ragigura. So sometimes you'll play 1-for-1, they're expecting you to summon Ragigura. You play out a Consecrated Light, and it throws them off. You can do it after all your plays. So say you play into a Torrential, you follow up with this, and you're safe.
Awesome.
Kaiku, just because it's a really good card to play when you expect to get deck devied, possibly.
Yes.
A lot of this deck really loses to deck devy.
Sure.
Cards, so, Cyber Dragon.
Machines.
In case of machines, but also I like it a lot in like matchups like GBs. You can side it against a lot of decks as long as you're going second. I think it's just a powerful card. My body, I would definitely cut this from the side. I just put it in there for like maybe Light Swords and also like the heavy back row decks. This deck does lose to decks that tend to play 1 monster, set 5 or set 4. So just through that. In my opinion, probably the best side card, Smashing Ground.
Sure.
Because this deck, it needs a special summon to make big monsters. So cards like Fossil Dyna, Christia, Machina Fortress. Machina Fortress is a big problem. Decks like that, you do really need to have a Smashing Ground. I always put this in going second. Like I said about the macro decks, there's a Dust Tornado.
Maybe for like Blackwing stuff or like getting rid of frogs.
Blackwings is really strong. This card probably comes up one of the most. Mask of Restricts.
For Forgs?
Yeah, so actually this is what I played in the finals. So in our game 3, this was the decider for the first place.
Sure.
I sat on, I had kind of a dead hand. I had a Ragigura plus 5 back row. I set my back row to bluff Starlight Road or Judgment.
Sure.
And I set Ragigura just because. And I flipped this on standby against the frogs. I was playing against the frog OTK.
Yes.
And as soon as I flipped that up, my opponent couldn't do anything for 3 turns. Up until he drew Heavy Storm and
Clean your board.
OTK that point. But that match, that game was decided on he OTKs me on that turn, or I'm OTKing him on the next turn.
Right.
And then I always believe that, especially for this deck, Trap Dust Shoe isn't good in the main deck because you see it going second. It's usually dead. I only side this in going first.
Sure. All right, so your matchups. I do want to ask you specifically. There is a very new meta deck that's been coming out. You know, we used to have Hero Frogs, and now we're starting to see Forgs, or whatever's Dream Hero or Dream Frogs, or just saying so Synchro Frogs. How fearsome is saying so Forgs right now?
So I haven't been playing too much for the past few months. I actually just practiced the day before.
Yes.
Came in here with no expectations.
Oh my goodness.
Did good. But Frogs, I always knew of the deck. I played it before. It plays very similar to this deck, where it can OTK you out of nowhere.
Sure.
And with this matchup, playing in that, it's either I OTK him or he's going to OTK me.
Right.
And what I like about this deck is it plays really passively,
yes,
but it kind of just explodes at any moment. So I would say the matchup is 50-50. If they open with Duplock, the matchup gets really hard.
Sure. Okay, and what have your matches been in your Swiss rounds?
Yeah, so I played 2 GBs.
Yep.
It's a tough matchup because the heavy back row.
Yes.
Also, you let 1 GB attack go through, and the game gets 10 times harder.
Sure.
But luckily, I sacked all of my opponents. I played against 1 Blackwing. That was one of my losses. I would say that was because it was my second match. I was really rusty. I misplayed a lot.
Sure.
But from that moment, I decided I can't misplay anymore. No more misplaying. I knew I would have taken that match, but it's okay.
So what do you do to actually fix like your misplays? Do you take your time in the match to try and like resolve some of the misplays? I say resolve, but like prevent the misplays.
So misplays are gonna happen.
Sure.
You know, this deck, you never really, you fall into back row a lot.
Yes.
But the nice thing about this deck is, how I play this deck is you burn your resources in exchange for your opponent's resources. You try to simplify the game state because this deck really excels at simplified game states.
Okay.
But yeah.
What's some other matches that you were in Swiss? You said Blackwings, and what else?
I played against Vayu.
Yep.
Vayu is actually one of my best matchups.
Swiss cheese?
Yeah, it's as long as they don't deck W or Royal Oppression, the matchup is really easy. I also played against that in Top Cut, but I played against Machina. Machina is a tough matchup because sitting on Fortress is a threat. Your outs are Bryanak, but you rip a card for targeting it.
Yeah.
You make a Gotems, but Gotems is gonna die to it, so there's not many options to really out the Fortress. I guess you can Goyo Guardian. My other matchup, I played against a Hero Plant deck. It was kind of scary. It was just like a small plant engine where you make Titanium and then just heroes.
So it's just giant beat stick deck.
I was really sacky against that deck. I hit him with the infinite of bouncing your Fultrol with Bryanak. So you make Bryanak, you keep special summoning Fultrol, adding it back. You special Ragiguras, you tribute the Ragiguras. If you play X-SABERS, you know the infinite.
It's like a borderline Fultrol loop. Yeah.
And then the other game, I just OTK'd him, like Summoner Monk, just hand rip. So yeah.
Gotcha. So, is there anyone you want to thank?
I want to thank all the Vegas players, Edison Fight Club.
It's the first time that in a while that Vegas has actually made a top, right?
Yeah. I would say like our Edison community isn't as big as, say, California, but we have strong players.
Yep.
I just want to shout them all out. They've been real ones.
It was Team what?
Team Anime Sucks.
Team Anime Sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. And anyone else you want to thank, or is that pretty much it? Awesome. Well, congratulations on your second place for X-SABERS, and I appreciate the deck profile.
Thank you.
This is Cameron over here with the X-SABERS. My name is David Lee from Asian with Cards. We'll see you guys in the next video.